What's good, family? Welcome back to the channel. Just when you thought you've seen it all, it still gets worse. We have a TikToker that killed her boyfriend after going live. Now, if this what toxic relationship means in today's day and age, I don't want it. I don't want it. Without further ado, let's get straight into this and see what's going on.
Social media star seemed to be living her best life.
She a demon.
You got like 1 million followers or something?
2 million.
Damn.
Until one fateful night, when sirens and cop cars forced her into a disturbing reality.
I'm going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be the same thing. That's the last time I ever talked to him.
Now, the influencer is being defined not by her online presence,
Yeah, you should go. Yeah, you should go.
but by her alleged crime involving her boyfriend of 2 years.
My apologies for being absolutely covered in blood.
With the messy history resurfacing
You will never protect me.
I only date rich black
Okay,
guys.
rich black guys. There we go.
and consequences looming,
It was a downward strike with an
will this creator be found guilty for
gold
her
digger.
brutal actions?
Well, one of the things she does is she leaks out the truth in terms of her body language.
Or will evidence prove that her crime was justified?
Please do not send any hate to anyone mentioned in this video.
Meet the very blonde, very bubbly, and very online Courtney Clenny. While some creators use their online pages to express themselves, Courtney's social media acted more as a calculated advertisement, emphasizing her physical assets and flirtatious nature, in an effort to tease the existence of more scandalized content
That's the
available
life
to
of
her
living in
subscribers
Miami,
on
man.
OF, the site that safeguards private and sometimes explicit content behind a paywall.
Are you on OnlyFans? Yes, I am. The link is in my bio.
Yet despite Courtney's active online presence, what did fans really know about the influence?
This is my thing. If all you want are rich black guys, why are you still doing OnlyFans? Huh? If you looking for doing money, you damn it doing money, why are you still showing that poom poom on the internet? You must just be bored.
Beyond her go-to vacation spots, basic hobbies, and preference for bikinis over one pieces. No, it seems social media only skimmed the surface when it came to who Courtney was and what she was capable of. After all, just weeks after filming an episode of the We in Miami podcast alongside fellow adult entertainment stars,
My name is Courtney Taylor, and I am an influencer who does OnlyFans for a living.
Courtney would be on the phone with 911, sending emergency services to a crime scene that had her fingerprints all over it. While Courtney remained relatively tight-lipped about her personal life on the We in Miami podcast, there were a couple of eyebrow-raising moments, such as the influencer's explanation of her taste in men.
I only date black guys, especially black guys. Especially black guys. Let me clarify, I only date rich black
Okay,
guys.
rich black guys. There we go.
And then there's a hint that behind that bright smile Courtney plastered across social media, the influencer had a domineering side.
In my life, I don't like anybody to tell me what to do.
A disposition that, if taken to the extremes, could taint any relationship.
So that sounds like
That's
you're a
unfortunate.
control freak with your relationships. Be careful with this one.
100%.
She's gonna boss you around like
Sweet toxicity.
Speaking of which, who was Courtney
Yo,
in a relationship?
Like, how does a girl want a man to lead and then not want to be told what to do at the same time? It makes no sense.
While her social media presence may have implied the influencer was single, Courtney was very much spoken for, dating Christian Toby Obumseli. The two began their relationship in November 2020, and trouble quickly followed. Anyone close to or even in the vicinity of Christian and Courtney seemed to smell the telltale stench of a toxic relationship radiating off of them. The reality is, we did see a lot of DV, and it was on her end. A friend who hung out with the couple when they started dating in Austin, Texas told Rolling Stone. Whether it was allegedly screaming in public, allegedly fighting over money, or allegedly becoming physical, the friend saw one aggressor in the relationship, Courtney. And the source had more than one example of the influencer's behavior allegedly escalating, including a situation at an apartment party in Austin. When the couple was leaving the party, Courtney allegedly made forceful contact with Christian, causing him to fall. I heard it and I went out there and he was at the bottom of the steps, the source told Rolling Stone. A friend also recalled a situation where Courtney allegedly threw Christian's suitcase over a balcony. She was like, haha, toxic girlfriend. But then she was like, it's okay, I bought him all new Louis Vuitton luggage, the friend said. It was this thing where she would do something to him, and then her way of apologizing would be to buy him something designer or make up for it with a trip. But surely, if Courtney and Christian's relationship had been this publicly tumultuous, someone would have intervened? Well, apparently, there was intervention from law enforcement. The couple's first run-in with the police traces back to July 2021. The Lovebirds were staying at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas for a brief getaway when officers responded to a call about a family disturbance. When officers arrived on the scene, both Courtney and Christian allegedly detailed the same version of events that involved Courtney throwing a glass towards her boyfriend. The influencer also allegedly admitted to the officers that she had thrown objects at Christian before and denied that he had ever resorted to violence during a fight. In January 2022, the two relocated to Miami for Christian to work in cryptocurrency, but the change of scenery didn't seem to cure the couple of their more toxic tendencies. During their time in Miami, neighbors from up to 2 floors away reported noise complaints, resulting in security visiting the couple on multiple occasions, and the building management considering evicting the pair. But behind closed doors, who could say whether the muffled shouts were antagonizing or pleading, whether a crash was a mistake or a
Bro, imagine arguing so much that the building is threatening to evict you. That is tough.
Or whether a cry was in anger or for help. What happened in private would just have to remain a mystery, unless a fight took itself outside of their apartment. And in February 2022, that's exactly what happened. Courtney and Christian may have believed they were alone at that moment in an elevator, but a camera bore witness to a fight that seemed to expose the volatile side of one person. In the footage, Courtney behaved aggressively while Christian seemingly attempted to calm her down. And by late March, the two had separated after Courtney allegedly kicked Christian out of her apartment. But by April 1st, the two were back to their old ways, as police body cam footage captured a visit made to their apartment building that day after receiving a report of an argument between the couple. Courtney claimed she'd been holed up in her apartment out of fear of Christian, who, according to the influencer and the reports of other tenants, had been using common areas as makeshift bedrooms.
He's been literally sleeping in my elevator room without permission.
But eventually, Courtney had to leave her unit.
I stayed in my apartment all day. I didn't take my dogs out for like 8 hours because I was afraid that when I came down here, I was gonna beat him.
And he was, but building staff stepped in after Christian allegedly charged at Courtney.
We still have him walking around the property and we need to have him removed.
But while police noted there was bruising on Courtney's body and the influencer appeared to want to take action,
I want a restraining order against Christian Obumseli.
To prevent anything Christian could allegedly do to her,
because I know him and he would do it. How can I make myself first?
The officers believed Courtney was intoxicated and she was unable to make a report. And that brings us to April 3rd, 2022, the day that changed everything. Just 2 days after the police visit, it appeared the pair had made up. Christian allegedly left the apartment at 1:15 p.m., while Courtney stated and posted one of her Instagram live.
If that ain't toxic, this is, bro, it don't get more toxic than this. Y'all out here calling the cops on each other. And then making up 2 days later, now you just getting everyone involved in this joint. You getting the government involved in your relationship.
Q&As, where she mentioned her conflicting feelings surrounding the police force.
Do you support the police? Yes, I do. I do. I think a lot of times they don't do their job. For sure. I've not been helped by them.
The influencer also used the live to go over her plans for her first summer in Miami.
Work out, go to the beach, live my life. Because I'm blessed.
Her love for her new apartment.
The ocean is just like right here. So it's amazing. It's the best apartment that I've ever lived in.
And where she saw herself in 5 years.
I see myself with, say, 2 children. I would say at least 1 kid. A few houses, business going on. Probably not OF, but we'll see.
Overall, the future looked bright, making Courtney seem all the more blissfully unaware of what a few hours later had in store for her. Christian returned to the apartment with Subway sandwiches for himself and Courtney at 4:33 p.m., just after Courtney had ended her Instagram video.
I'm gonna go hit my puff and then eat my sandwich. Thank you guys. Love you.
And while the influencer promised her viewers she would go on OF later that night, it seemed life got in the way.
Oh,
25 minutes later, Courtney was on the phone with 911.
I can't get my arm.
There was no question. Something horrible had happened. By about 5 p.m., officers had arrived at the high-rise luxury apartment on 3131 Northeast 7th Avenue in Edgewater and made their way to a unit they were all too familiar with. See, the The police had allegedly responded to multiple disturbances involving the couple within the past 3 months, but none quite like this. On April 3rd, a DV incident that involved a blade had been reported. When they arrived, they found Courtney holding an injured Christian, who had suffered a blade wound to the upper chest. He was rushed to the hospital, but tragically did not survive his injury. This meant there was only one witness to the crime, Courtney. And the OF star didn't seem to be in any state to provide her version of events after she learned about what happened to Christian.
We have to inform you that Christian did not make it. Okay.
Christian is dead.
Yeah, I think she was
but
actually
while
shocked.
Courtney was being detained, she allegedly threatened to end her life. Under Florida's Baker Act, law enforcement is entitled to put a person who exhibits capabilities of violence towards themselves or others on a psychiatric hold of up to 72 hours, which meant Courtney was taken to the hospital. Still, an interrogation of the influencer was conducted. Footage of Courtney's interrogation was ripped apart by body language expert Dr. Lillian Glass, who labeled Courtney's behavior as ultimate narcissism. Dr. Lillian Glass highlighted these particular clips from the 4-hour-long interrogation.
I just cannot believe the way my day went.
Yeah.
And it's way worse than I just really want to get to the hospital.
It's really all about her.
My apologies for being absolutely covered in blood.
To say, excuse me for being covered in blood, like she's doing a YouTube video and wants to apologize that she doesn't look right.
But it just said something about, well, what if I'm somewhere you don't want me to be?
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't have been. I love him. But I feel like,
Like when she says, I love him, and then she touches her nose. And that's a signal of deception. You wonder if she really did love him. And then you see some shoulder shrugs when she's talking.
When the interrogation was shared online, viewers also pointed to other specific parts that upset them.
Like, this is serious. No, I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily in trouble. I feel so much better once they just say he's stable.
Yeah,
and I've been asking so much.
That's what we're waiting for. Okay.
I mean, I feel like at the end, if he's not, that's a lot worse for me. But if he's not, that's just a lot worse for everybody. Christian died. Can I please have a hug? Am I allowed to do that in here?
Sure.
Yeah, so you're the one that killed him.
No.
We'll be right outside of that, okay?
What I really need is a hit of vape. Badly.
And while what happened inside the apartment remains shrouded in mystery, a video TMZ posted the next day exposed the aftermath. In the footage, a handcuffed Courtney sat on her balcony in what appeared to be the same sports bra she'd worn in her Instagram live just hours before, now splattered with red. But did this video capture a victim or a villain? When it came to Christian's family's opinion, the latter might describe the influencer best. After all, she had been the one who fatally wounded her boyfriend. During their preliminary investigation, officers found Christian had been wounded by Courtney after a physical altercation between the two broke out. Still, this didn't mean Courtney's actions were unwarranted. While the influencer's attorney, Frank Prieto, claimed Courtney was keeping her mourning private out of respect for Christian's family, he suggested their calls for justice and an arrest in this matter were misplaced. But what reason could Courtney possibly have had that could justify taking a life? According to the attorney, Courtney had been mistreated at the hands of Christian, and unfortunately, April 3rd was the night things went too far. Courtney had the right to defend herself out of fear of her life, Prieto alleged. According to what Courtney had told police, her wounding Christian was the result of him laying his hands on her. The influencer allegedly claimed she'd thrown the weapon at Christian from 10 feet away. But with Courtney free and Christian passed on, was there any hope for justice in a case that happened behind closed doors? Even if the police were letting Courtney off the hook, it didn't seem like the public was as forgiving. Less than a week after
crazy.
Christian's passing, Courtney was out in public at Miami's Grand Beach Hotel bar when one patron took it upon themselves to confront the influencer.
I'll videotape her. Right now, you should go. Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did.
The video was posted to Instagram and captioned, "At MPD police, does this look like a mentally unstable person to you, as she claims?" Courtney's attorney commented on the situation. Courtney was there that night with her father, who simply wanted to pop in and have a drink in private, which was disrupted by this woman who started filming. Frank Prieto told TMZ. It is unfortunate that a member of the public, knowing absolutely nothing about the circumstances and events surrounding the passing of Mr. Obumseli, would take the opportunity to harass the Clenny family during a time that they are trying to be supportive for Courtney. But what did those who knew the couple intimately have to say? Local 10 News interviewed friends of the couple who, although shocked by the news, weren't under any delusions over the relationship.
I've seen her hit him. I've never seen him hit her.
And the idea that Christian's actions would force Courtney to fight for her life didn't line up with the man they knew.
We believe that, like, Christian wouldn't put her in a position where she would need to him to protect herself.
But a neighbor of the couple also called into question whether Christian was the same man in private as he presented himself as in public. A week before the police received that April 3rd call, the neighbor who had a view into the couple's apartment saw Christian lay his hands on Courtney.
I could not tell if it was open-handed or closed-handed, but he was swinging at her.
And Christian was losing supporters for another reason: his tweets. The 27-year-old's online posts seemed to disparage African American women while uplifting Caucasian women. In his tweets, he spoke about how black girls disgrace themselves on TV and aren't the only ones who can cook in the world. These comments directly contrasted the way Christian talked about white women, who he repeatedly praised and expressed desire for. These tweets have caused some to withdraw their support for Christian. One Twitter user wrote, "Everybody wants to black women to rally behind this black man that was unalived by the very woman he craved. Call his community, not us. He don't want nothing from us. Respect his wishes." Another saw an almost karmic element in the situation, tweeted, "So Christian Toby Obumseli was on social media passing around anti-black women propaganda and praising only white women, only for a white woman to end him, and white police officers refusing to investigate his case. Terrible story, but crazy how the universe works sometimes." While Christian was unable to defend himself, his brother commented on the situation. In an Instagram post, Jeffrey Obumseli stated that while the family strongly disagreed with the ignorant and repulsive tweets from his then high school-aged brother that had recently surfaced, that did not change the need for justice, which had so far been absent from the case, according to Jeffrey. He said the detective assigned to the case had prematurely concluded this was not a crime of violence, despite what the evidence allegedly showed. And what was this damaging evidence Christian's brother spoke of? He alleged his brother had no weapon on him, that Courtney walked away with no injuries, and that she was unable to explain how the fight started. Added together, the family came to the conclusion that Christian's passing was a result of unwarranted and unprovoked violence. Following his passing, the family created a GoFundMe to cover funeral and legal expenses. On the page, Christian's brother wrote that Christian's life was taken just a week before he turned 28. "It is not enough to say we are shocked and hurting. We are utterly devastated. His passing leaves many unanswered questions and creates a void that can never be fixed or filled, not even with time," he wrote. So far, over $80,000 of the $100,000 goal has been raised. The family seemed to be still in the midst of processing their grief. And as relative Karen Egbuna told Local 10 News, there was one member who had only recently been informed of Christian's passing. The family had waited to break the news to Christian's 93-year-old grandmother.
Her grandson, who was expected to come home to Texas to visit for his 28th birthday, will no longer or ever be returning home.
Man, that's sad.
As for Courtney, her attorney wrote in a statement that the influencer was struggling with the aftermath of what occurred that evening. But while Courtney's past had already come back to bite her, it appeared there was still more to surface. On April 8th, The Sun released Courtney's mugshot from September 2020. With smeared eye makeup and a partially pulled down mask, the influencer half smirked or grimaced for the Austin Police Department after she was arrested for a DUI. And unlike other legal woes the influencer had, this was still unfolding. Courtney was set for a pre-trial conference in June 2022. The next day, Courtney's lawyer dropped a jaw-dropping claim. Frank Prieto told TMZ his client had possibly been a victim of human trafficking. The lawyer didn't expand on this claim, but alleged Christian wasn't the innocent man his family painted him to be. At the time of the incident, Mr. Obumseli was committing a forcible felony. He had gained access to Courtney's apartment without permission on several occasions in the days leading up to the incident, the lawyer claimed. But Courtney's self-defense story had one major red flag, according to Christian's family, which was that she allegedly told detectives she threw the weapon that ended Christian's life. In an interview with Dr. Phil, the family described the impossibility of this scenario.
Is she a professional thrower? How does someone throw a 10 to 20 feet away and that fatally a person?
The family's attorney also noted that in Florida, self-defense is only a defense in response to deadly force. Christian did not have a weapon, and as for Courtney, well, it seems she had a history.
One previous boyfriend It's indicated that she attempted to stab him on more than 2 occasions.
Then there was the video taken by a person visiting the apartment, which allegedly showed Courtney had tried to harm herself while Christian attempted to stop her. The interview also shed light on the way Christian's family had allegedly been treated by officers throughout the case, starting from the beginning. The day after the fatal altercation, Christian's mother received a call from a medical examiner requesting that she donate her son's organs. This was how she learned Christian had passed.
The way the news came to me was very, very inhuman.
That's horrible.
Devastating.
Without knowing what happened to Christian, the family began questioning detectives and were eventually told that Courtney had ended Christian's life in self-defense and that the case had enough evidence to be closed.
This was Monday.
Within 24 hours.
Within less than 24 hours, he had enough information to conclude that this was a domestic dispute.
But perhaps the case wasn't as closed as it appeared to be. On July 1st, an arrest warrant was put out for Courtney. The warrant came from Travis County in Texas, the influencer's home state. She had missed the DUI court date that had been set for June and was reportedly still in Florida, although her abandoned social media provided no clues of her whereabouts. On August 10th, Courtney was arrested by the United States Marshal Service, not for skipping her court date, but for the second-degree ending of Christian's life. Courtney had been in Hawaii when she was arrested. Courtney was seeking treatment for her PTSD and related issues to this case, and it is an absolute injustice to charge a victim of DV and human trafficking with a crime. The influencer's attorney said in a statement to Law and Crime, Courtney was clearly defending herself. We will vigorously defend Courtney and clear her of this unfounded and baseless charge. Frank Prieto said, Courtney was held in police custody in Honolulu, Hawaii, where the influencer was denied bail and set to be extradited to Miami. And Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle used the renewed media coverage of the case to expose evidence that discredited the story Courtney had allegedly told police of throwing the weapon 10 feet across the room.
It was a downward strike with a...
This was revealed by the autopsy, which exposed the wound to be 3 inches, a depth that required a force that a throw wouldn't likely achieve. The alleged timeline of April 3rd was also fleshed out. According to Fernandez-Rundle, Courtney had called Christian before her Instagram live video and again at 4:33 p.m., just before he got back to the apartment. Shortly after her boyfriend entered the unit, the attorney believed Courtney fatally wounded him. Instead of calling emergency services, Courtney allegedly called her mother, twice, once at 4:43 p.m. and again at 4:49 p.m. It wasn't until 4:57 p.m. that Courtney allegedly called police, who arrived at the unit around 5:04 p.m. And it seemed there was no end to sources with their own stories involving Courtney and Christian. On August 15th, a former downstairs neighbor from the couple's days in Austin spoke to Fox 7. He described an instance where a tiger painting was thrown onto his balcony during a fight between his upstairs neighbors. As for who was the aggressor or what exactly was happening, sound alone could only provide so much insight.
Behind closed doors, we just started hearing some shouting, yelling. We don't know who was starting what. We didn't get a lot of context.
What was clear was that the two were in a toxic relationship. Glasses shattering, banging on walls and floors all emanated from the upstairs penthouse, attracting the attention of neighbors and police officers on multiple occasions.
I just want people to know that it had been going on for a long time and it definitely could have been stopped.
And while Christian may have passed away before he could give his side of the story, he left evidence behind in the form of secret recordings. Prosecutors have made public 3 videos Christian stealthily shot on his phone that appeared to capture Courtney in a new light. From an uncontrollable jealousy in the influencer that caused her to launch interracial tirades towards her boyfriend.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
All seemingly because he greeted a woman he saw while on a bike ride.
Get off of me!
Oh, she got a demon. She got a demon.
That alluded to a self-destructive nature.
Baby, please, just get in the car. Just please. I'm sorry for all you. You will never hear me doing that. Was not right for me to do that. Please, baby, don't yourself. You will never protect me. I will.
To what looked like a lack of accountability for her
Like
behavior.
I apologize, but
you. The evidence against Courtney has stacked up. In September 2022, Courtney's attorney requested any OF content and personal texts on her phone that aren't relevant to the case not to be released to the public in an effort to maintain fairness and impartiality in the future trial, where Courtney has pleaded not guilty. According to Frank Prieto, Courtney's right to a fair trial had already been jeopardized after the release of the elevator footage, as an email the attorney received suggested.
Sorry, bud, but Courtney is going away from... After seeing the earlier video of that elevator, there's no way her self-defense story holds up. She's a psycho that needs to be locked up.
Courtney's attorney also questioned why newspapers like the Miami Herald wanted the content.
That's the motivation here for the Herald, to intervene. It's not to protect the public, freedom of the press for the public. They need clicks.
According to the Miami Herald's attorney, Scott Ponce, the local readership on their articles wasn't high enough to throw the fairness of the trial into question.
In a county as large as Miami-Dade County, that you're not going to be able to seat an impartial and fair juror is just ridiculous. It's just not true.
In the end, the judge denied the motion to limit access to the material on Courtney's phone, and in a December 2022 hearing, Courtney was denied bond.
Relief from the family of Christian Obumseli after a Miami-Dade judge announced Courtney Clenny would remain behind bars until her trial begins.
So where does that leave us? Well, with more evidence being collected from both sides and a seemingly endless stream of sources coming forward, there are sure to be further revelations as the missing pieces of this case come together. But with the trial date still to be set, only time will tell in what direction justice will sway. While there's no question that Courtney was the one who fatally wounded Christian, there are still mysteries surrounding the case, such as what happened in those 25 minutes between Christian arriving at their apartment and Courtney calling 911.
Christian can be heard in the background repeatedly saying that he was dying.
What evidence does Frank Prieto have for his human trafficking allegations? And finally, the question that will be at the heart of this trial: had Courtney truly been acting in self-defense that night, or had the influencer taken her role as the toxic girlfriend to a deadly extreme? This is the story of Courtney Taylor.
Yo! First things first, you can follow Twitch. I know y'all just saw like that little notification. Follow my Twitch. You guys can catch me on live. Definitely going to be going live this weekend. If not today, then tomorrow. We could just chat it up, chill, watch some videos, and just have some conversations. But this story right here is crazy. Two things I wanna talk on really quick. Even though Courtney was living in Miami by the water, penthouse views, and all that, that does not grant an individual happiness. It doesn't. It's about your internal peace and your mind state, your state of mind. That's what really brings someone happiness and just being content with their life. You feel what I'm saying? So all that external stuff, it does only so much. Second thing is Shorty's just psychotic. Crazy. I mean, the body language person was obviously able to tell that she's a narcissist. She made things about herself after her boyfriend was just stabbed, talking about he was bleeding out on the ground. Ambulance had to bring him back to the hospital. He was saying that, I'm dying. And she's the one who did it. That's just crazy, y'all. Comment down below what you guys think about this video right here. Do y'all think that she is innocent or guilty? That's a pretty simple question. Smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Love you.